When you feel all alone in this world and there's nobody to count your tears, just remember no matter where you are, Allah knows. Allah knows.
It's really made. If you look at it, if you look at how many maps were introduced much later. So you don't need to have all of these kind of knowledge to be a merchant. So your excuse, it's not justifiable.
Theories are watertight. So this is the theory that
He just give you an example of an entire nation.
it's just a theory.
Theory?
It's just an idea that I had there. How could a man be a lecturer and write a book?
No, the man, he didn't know the book. He was given the book. So if I give you a book in Chinese and you don't know anything Chinese, you had nothing to do with it. You were just given.
Every author would have to read the book he was writing in order to understand. I don't do.
I'll record him.
That's right, he says no. Now, if I tell you to repeat in English whatever I say, can you not do that? Because English is what you speak.
So yeah,
But can you read it?
but how did Muhammad write the Quran?
He didn't write it.
He would have had to be able to.
He got it written by his scribes.
Oh, really? So,
Yes.
so you're saying
He had more than 50 scribes
really?
appointed, yes.
So it's basically like a bit like Joseph Smith then.
I don't know what you mean by Joseph Smith. The Quran is an
Joseph
oral book. The Quran is an oral book. It was dictated and it was memorized. And it was re-dictated back to him. Those who could write it down, wrote it down. He also got his scribes to write it down and dictate back to him. Okay? So primarily it's an oral book. And this is how it's transmitted primarily even today. So my question still stands. How would you trust a book when the authors have made things up? Okay? Can I borrow this book and I'll show you something?
That's why I researched the Bible.
Let's see. What's the first book? In the New Testament, Matthew, right? Let's start with Matthew.
It's about genuine peaceful. It's about
Matthew says, in contradiction to what's there already in the Old Testament, he says, so all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. From David until the carrying away into Babylon are 14 generations. And from carrying away into Babylon unto Christ are 14. 14, he says that, right? False. You know why they are false? We can go back and we can see. These people are mentioned in the Old Testament. He didn't make them up. They are real historical people. So when you go into history, and you find he's omitted several people. Okay?
He wouldn't like, you can't write every single person that lived on earth.
He says from David, Abraham to David, how many generations? Some of them or all of them? All of them. But that's not true. From Abraham to David is more than 14 generations. You can read in 1 Chronicles, chapter 3. All there. The people he has omitted, we know who he omitted. Like here, chapter 1, verse 10. And Ezekiel begat Manasseh, and Manasseh begat Ammon, and Ammon begat Josiah. Josiah begat Jeconiah. False. Incorrect. Josiah begat Jehoiakim, who begat Jeconiah. So one of the person.
You literally got the answer. Can you write all your descendants? Can you write all the...
How many generations he said? 14. Were there 14 or more? There are more. So you can read in here 1 Chronicles. When I go and pray, you can read 1 Chronicles chapter 3, compare the names and you'll find all of them. Why don't you do that? And you'll find there are more. And I'll tell you why he's omitted them. He omitted them because the person is omitted. In the Old Testament, God says you are cursed. You will have none to sit upon the throne of David. But look what Matthew wants to do. He wants to make Jesus son of David. He wants to make Jesus to be sitting on the throne of David. So if he has...
Which ones are cursed?
Jehoiakim is cursed. The Bible says that very clearly. He's cursed and he takes him out and he calls it 14. So he's distorting history for his theological reason that he wants Jesus to be the son of David. If he has Jehoiakim, then he shoots himself on the own foot because he can't have Jesus to be the son of David. Because anyone who comes from Jehoiakim cannot be sitting on the throne of David. he takes him out. That's example number one. Distorting history. He invents prophecies. He says, as was spoken by the prophets, he shall be called a Nazarene. Which prophet said that he shall be called a Nazarene? None of them. No prophet said a prophecy that he shall be called a Nazarene. He just invented it. He just made it up.
So basically,
That's example number two.
Okay, how many examples are there?
I think 3 is sufficient, but because I have to go and pray, I'm saying, think about this. If he invents prophecies, distort history, is he someone who is sincere and reliable person to take guidance from him about God?
How many people wrote cited the Quran? Just one person, right?
No. Thousands.
Okay, so 1,000 wrote, 1,000